think so. Fine, I correct the things that you suggest me.
Okay. Do you have any general questions that you want to?
Yes,
talk
about
about?
reference. Because I only use 9 reference. I don't know if they're
Try to use 10.
10 at least. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
try your best to include at least 10, since that is a requirement.
Okay.
So, yeah, do your best. Maybe you can try to add one more.
Okay, I'm gonna try to add more in specific information that I consider to need to be supported by
Alright.
citation.
Do you want me to comment on something in particular, or just? Did you have a chance to look at the announcements, Cuauhtemoc?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's kind of created a list of.
The headings, the level 2, because I don't know where to put them.
Okay, well these are level 2 headings here.
This is level 1.
No, these are level 2.
How to
level 1.
establish a level 1?
Okay, level 1 would be like. Okay, this is a level 1.
Okay.
And these are level 2s. Oops.
Okay.
These are level 2s
so I have
here.
to change the position.
And so these are level 2s.
Okay.
Now, if you need a level 3 would be one that's under these headings.
I only have headings 1 and 2.
Okay. All right. So, but level 3 would be part of the paragraph. But so let's look
like that.
now. Yeah, but just remember that these headings need to be all the way to the left.
I thought it was level 2, but
It is a level 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it is a level 2, right?
Oh, because it is level 2.
See.
I have to move.
And you can do that by sliding this bar up here like this.
Okay.
Okay.
And the level 1 in the center of
Like
the
this level. This is another level 2. Bring it over. Bring your cursor here, and then bring your slider bar over.
Okay.
Like this. Now, my question is this a subheading of this, or is this an equal subsection?
No, it's a subsection. The other one, the recomprehension.
This is a subsection of this.
Yes, because cognitive strategy is a level 1
or level 2. Yeah, these are level 2s. You won't have any level 1 headings inside your literature review except the very first page. Like here, you're going to have your title. This is a level 1.
Okay.
But that's the only level 1 in your literature review. Everything else is a level 2.
Because it's supposed it's divided in 3 main level, which is.
And those 3 main levels are level 2s.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
Because these are all subheadings of your title.
Okay.
Yeah. And your introduction is going to be for the whole thing. Okay. So you're going to have your introduction here.
And the other ones are level 3.
Okay. So this is level 2, right? Okay.
Level 2.
So the next heading would be. Now, cognitive strategies. Is this the second? All right. Level 2.
It's gonna be level 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now level 3 is indented. Now level 3s are different than level 2. Level 2 and level 1, the main words are capitalized.
Okay.
Level 3, only the first word is capitalized, and you're going to have a period at the end. All right. So it's going to be like this. I'll do the first one here.
No capital letters.
No capital letters except for the first word.
Okay.
And it's going to end with a period, because you notice here there's no punctuation, and there's no punctuation for level 1, but level 3 there is. Okay, and it's part of the paragraph. All right. So here, this is your body paragraph. Así como normal.
Okay.
This is your body paragraph. I'm sorry, your topic sentence. This is your topic sentence that I've highlighted here, but this is your heading, your level 3 heading. So
but they are together, doesn't matter.
No, that's how it is. That's how it should be for level 3.
Because it's going to describe the other.
That's it. And notice this is different than level 2. This is level 2. It's on its own line. No punctuation. Main words are capitalized. Here it's part of the paragraph. And this
I only
tells
have
us.
those two.
Okay, so you'll change this. Reciprocal teaching will be like this.
Yes.
¿Sí? ¿Sí cierto? Is this another subheading of cognitive strategies?
Reciprocal teaching is I think it's gonna be in the
In this,
yes, in this section, because it's
is it a cognitive strategy?
yes.
Okay. All right, and now, usually, I wouldn't recommend a heading for one paragraph,
Okay.
regardless of the heading. It can be a level 2, level 3, but my suggestion would not to use a heading for one paragraph. There needs to be a little bit more text to justify having a heading. So maybe in this case you don't need this because it's only one paragraph, and as long as you state what it is here in your topic sentence, then the reader knows what the main idea is.
Okay.
All right, so just think about that. Same way with reciprocal teaching. Now if the reciprocal teaching is talks about in several paragraphs, okay, maybe, but so just think about your headings there. Maybe you have a different heading here and you have a couple of paragraphs under that heading, and then you have reciprocal teaching as a second level 3 heading, and you talk about different things maybe. Now social interactions, your third main subsection, right?
Yes, it's the third main section.
Okay.
I also include the thesis statement. I would like that you check, and I add the 3 research questions.
Okay, now I would restate your thesis statement in the third person still.
Third person, okay.
Now, you can change to the first person if you want, or you can just say this research focuses on these 2 or 3 research questions.
Kelsey's work, and I thought I'm gonna type similar, and then I'm gonna ask Ben to if it is correct or is incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what Kelsey did.
Something similar. Using
first person.
First person. I think so.
Okay.
Maybe she changed.
Maybe. Because I was just looking at her work. I didn't see that. Maybe I missed it. Okay. She hasn't really finished hers yet, this paragraph, so I think it's still... So, yeah. I would recommend keeping it in the third person here. Yeah.
I want to look at the primary research, and I want to try to do something similar.
Yeah, be careful too with your punctuation here.
Something that you can tell me about plagiarism?
Make sure that each sentence, you look at each sentence all by itself and ask yourself, is this sentence that I just wrote, is it original idea or is it not original idea? If it's an original idea, you don't need a citation. If it's not an original idea and it's not common knowledge, which then you need to include a citation. But look specifically at each sentence, because sometimes the tendency is to cite a sentence, cite someone in a sentence, and then the next sentence you continue to discuss what the other author said, but you don't include a citation. And that's where we run into problems. So you need to in that case cite again, right? Or perhaps instead bring in another citation, another author, to contrast what you just said. But the idea is that each sentence, if it's not an original idea, it's not common knowledge, to include a citation. All right, to give credit to those who came up with that idea. So that would be my advice on for when you check each sentence, making sure that you have those citations. Now,
when you check my work, did you see something similar to?
Did I see anything? All right, so here, let's look at this example. You have a citation, Oakley, all right, and you state Oakley. Then you say, considering this idea about reading comprehension, this reading skill can be associated with how well students understand the main idea in a reading, because without understanding, it does not matter how fluently or how well students pronounce words while reading. Now, this is your original idea?
Yes.
Now, when this would be considered analyzing, and our analyzed sentence, that is from the meal plan, the A from the meal plan, we need to very much directly discuss the evidence and the main idea, not to really draw some other real maybe different perspective. It's more about you analyzing this. So, for example, if you add in another citation, you could talk about those citations and what's the connection to the main idea. That is what we want to comment. These analyzed sentences are like comments, your comments on the evidence, and any links to the main idea or something that you've already said. If we're talking about later in your thesis, you can always discuss things that you're talking about in this paragraph and compare and contrast to either the same paragraph or something that you mentioned before, adding and connecting your ideas in each paragraph with what you said before.
I try to be really carefully with those points.
I mean, this is not a problem with plagiarism. This is just, but.
Well, what about when there are two citations in the same, when you
paragraph?
When you cite something, for example, Cuauhtemoc, according to Cuauhtemoc, cited the events, 1996. When you mention two citations, how do you? Doble cita, ¿cuándo es doble cita?
But are you referring to like when one book cites somebody else? Okay. Then do you have some examples of that? We're going to use as cited in.
As cited in.
Right. So in this case, we have Oakley, 2011.
According to, for example.
All right. So here you're going to say, according to Allen and Hancock. Now, you need to add the year of Allen and Hancock.
Okay. Not the author's work.
So what I would say is, according to Allen and Hancock, much is known, and then add this citation at the end. This would go here at the end.
Okay. I cited in.
I see. And here you need to add the year.
Okay.
See that? So that's typically how we do this. And then we have to add, because it's a direct quote, we need to add the page number.
The page number. Okay.
See?
Okay.
So that's how we do that. So I think in general, I think I would add more citations. Try to add more.
Okay.
You can use the same references, but add more, because notice in this paragraph you have one citation, and let's see, anyway, like here we want to avoid. Anyway, this is a little bit informal, so I would use a different connector.
In addition, moreover, however.
So, like when you say one example, typically we want a citation, because the examples, the details, the facts, it's better instead of you giving an example that you provide an example based from an expert, an external source. So here, this sentence needs a little. I would look at it and evaluate which sentences are the main idea, which sentences are evidence, which sentences are analyzed, and which sentences are linking, and make sure that you are following a coherent pattern of providing evidence, then discussing it. Or maybe it's two citations, and then you discuss those two, another evidence, and another analyze, right? Or maybe it's two evidence sentences and then two analyzed sentences, but that it's logic, and it's logical in the way that you're presenting the order, the organization of your ideas within that one paragraph. Okay, so because here it sounds like you kind of leave this paragraph kind of hanging because you are finishing with an example, when really you need to finish with analyzing what you just said and then the linking sentence to the next paragraph, so that you have kind of a flow. You want a flow of ideas from not only one sentence to the next, but from one paragraph to the next.
I have another doubt, but go to the last paragraph of the lit review, please, which is about thinking aloud. I consider to include thinking aloud because in some journals and some investigation mention that thinking aloud is an activity that in which teacher and students can interact. So
okay.
I think aloud could be a good information to the reader to see how teacher and students can interact.
So maybe you can link this think aloud activity with other comments that you mentioned before.
Because I mentioned, but in the first part of the lit review, in the assessment, but briefly.
Okay, here's what you need to ask yourself. When do I introduce think alouds? When do I first mention think alouds in the whole thesis?
I have to follow the same pattern.
Well, make sure it's logical, right? Because, for example, if you start talking about at the beginning why think alouds are important and you don't even explain what it is, then it could be difficult for the reader to understand. So logic would tell us first we need to know what it is, then maybe how to apply it, and then maybe why you would want to apply it. Think of the what, the how, and then the why in terms of think aloud. Now, in here, you have to ask yourself, when am I going to introduce, how am I going to introduce this activity, think aloud, and how important is it? How much information do I know about it? Then determine when you're going to explain what it is, how, and the why, and what concepts that you have already talked about in your theory relate. If you say this is important, there should be a reason why you're saying that. You need to explain that reasoning. And when you explain that reasoning, you do need to and maybe it's just one sentence. Think alouds are this, and bring in an expert. It tells the reader what it is, what think aloud is, and how it could be applied, and then maybe the purpose. Why do they use think alouds? And that's where you can start talking about the theory. But ask yourself, how important is it? I mean, are you researching think alouds?
Well, it can be included because think aloud could be considered a cognitive strategy.
Just make sure it's clear when you write the differences between strategies, techniques, methods, that we're not mixing these terminologies.
Okay.
Okay? So, because for me, think aloud, to me, I think activity, or I think of a technique.
It's not going
And maybe there's some strategies that are included. So, you know, but maybe instead of talking about think alouds here, you bring in think alouds when you talk about cognitive strategies as an example, maybe. Okay. But just be careful when you start bringing in information. Ask yourself, what is the relevance to my own research, to my research questions? Because if think alouds aren't really I mean, if it's just an example, okay, to support, to describe a cognitive strategy, okay. But if you start creating another section or a couple of paragraphs, even one paragraph only about think alouds, then it gives the reader the impression that you're going to focus on think alouds in your research. Now, look in the research questions. Are you going to focus on think alouds? I mean, maybe the teachers are going to. I mean, let's look at your research questions. How do teachers apply cognitive strategies? Perhaps they use think alouds, but you're not researching think alouds specifically. You're looking at how teachers implement cognitive strategies, which may or may not include think alouds. So just be careful about how much you talk about think alouds, how much importance you bring to it, unless you want to focus on think alouds. That's a different story.
I'm gonna try to add some information in the part that I have in the assessment, because I said a little bit about thinking aloud, and I'm going to move this part. Okay. Because as you said, thinking aloud, the reader can say, what does thinking aloud means in this?
Really pay close attention when you finish all of this. Look at all of your ideas, and this is how I'm going to start looking at each one of your paragraphs and your literature review. I'm going to be looking first at the thesis statement. So my first step is I'm going to look at your thesis statement. And in fact, let me type this up in the notes so you have it in the recording. So when I look at your overall literature review, here's where I'm going to start. I'm going to look, number one, I'm going to so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look and compare the thesis statement with the research questions, and I'm going to ask myself, is the writer creating a thesis statement that answers the research questions? Because the thesis statement is your one-sentence answer to your research questions. The rest of the literature review is to build an argument more specifically to answer your research questions. A literature review is to answer research questions. So that's the first thing I'm going to look at. Then when I look at those and say, okay, those are lined up, I'm then going to compare the thesis statement with each of the main subsections of the literature review, and these are level 2 headings. So all I'm going to do is look at that one sentence thesis statement, and I'm going to look at your 2 to 4 main headings, and I'm going to look at the logic. How are you presenting the order of your ideas? And I'm just going to look at those main headings. Okay, does this align with your thesis statement? Good. Then, when I finish that, I'm going to look at each subsection, level 2 heading. I'm going to compare each subsection with each topic sentence within that subsection. So I'm going to look at the first heading, that first section. And I'm going to look at the heading, and then I'm just going to look at the topic sentences. 1, 2. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph. Just the topic sentence. I'm going to look at the order. Does it make sense that you're talking about this before this? Or should maybe that second paragraph be first? And look at the order. The order is really important.
Yes.
All right, think of, we call this rhetorical pattern. And there are many rhetorical patterns. We can talk about, or logical reasonings. We might refer to these as logical reasonings. So we talk, maybe go from the general to the specific, the theoretical to the practical,
to the most important,
the least important to the most important, or vice versa. It could be a process. First this happens, then this happens, then this happens. It could be chronological, depending on the time. Depending on the concept, you'll decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And you should know. Right? It's not just, by accident. You have to think about it. Say, okay, first I'm going to talk about this, then I'm going to talk about this, then I'm going to talk about this. So in your first heading, look at your heading, look at your topic sentences only. And are they clear? Are those topic sentences clear? And think about, from the reader's standpoint, if someone else is reading this, are they going to understand what you're saying? And look at the order in which you're presenting your ideas. Okay? Once those are aligned, good. Then I'm going to go to the last step, which is to compare each topic sentence with their respective supporting sentences. Now I'm going to look at each paragraph and look at the topic sentence. Topic sentence is the main idea. And I'm going to look at the supporting sentences. Do the supporting sentences do they support the main idea in the topic sentence? Good. Then I'll go to the next paragraph. See. So I'm going from the general to the specific. I'm looking at each of these, but I'm looking all for the same thing, and that is coherence. All right. So think about those different ways in which you can order your ideas, and you can change those. It doesn't your whole literature review does not have to be the same logical reasoning. It depends on the topic, depends on what you're talking about. But really pay attention. You do the same thing. When you finish, you do exactly these 4 steps, just in the same order, and ask yourself, am I making sense here? Maybe this second section needs to go first. Maybe this second body paragraph should go at the end, because it doesn't make sense that I talk about it here. Okay? So try your best to look and analyze all your work first from a logical standpoint. Then you can go in each sentence, making sure that you have a good subject, predicate, no sentence fragments, and so on. You kind of look more detailed at your punctuation, capitalization, all that. But take it in steps, right? When you analyze your work, take it in steps. Don't try to mix looking for spelling errors and coherence at the same time. No, take it in pieces. Okay, first focus on one thing. Second, capitalization. Check everything. Capitalization. Is every sentence capitalized? Okay. Am I capitalizing places where I shouldn't be capitalizing? And you just look for the whole thing. And you should by now have certain types of errors based on my feedback that I've provided so far. You should have some ideas about certain types of errors that you need to be really careful about. Focus on those. Focus on those first. Right? Specifically sentence fragments. Be very careful. You're doing much better with sentence fragments. But still check all of those sentences, making sure that every sentence is complete, that you're not missing a subject or a predicate or a verb. Okay, and just take your revision process in sections and take it bit by bit. Right? Break it down. Don't try to look for too many things at once, because you're going to miss a lot. Right?
Okay.
So try to finish up today. Get as close as you can today. I'll provide feedback this weekend, and as soon as I can. It may take me a few days to go through all of the documents, but once you receive my feedback, you're going to have until May 23rd to make the final changes. So even though we're going to be focusing on other aspects of the research, obviously if you have questions or you want to discuss certain aspects of your literature review, we can do that.
We're gonna have the chance to change something after
yeah, you need to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
actually.
it's not an option.
Yeah,
I want everyone.
yeah.
Everybody has until May 23rd
Uh-huh.
to make the changes, because what I'm going to do is you're going to get a grade for this,
Uh-huh.
but the weight of this grade that you're going to receive for this literature review is less than the first draft, which is due May 23rd. May 23rd is like the big date for us, right, to finish your draft. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look and see if you made all those changes or most of the changes based on my feedback in the first draft in May 23rd, and then I'm going to give you another grade. And that grade weighs more than all the individual grades added together. So I'm giving you more points, for the process, trying to finish up and cleaning it up at the end, so you're not so penalized at the beginning if you are, if you're missing some things. But you need to make those changes, absolutely. This is not, we're not finished with the first draft on February 28th. This is just my formal feedback that I'm going to try to give as detailed as possible. Do not worry about the number of mistakes that you get, okay? Just use those and try to improve that, so that first draft on May 23rd is as good as it can be. And that's really what I want us to work towards, is getting that first draft as clean as it can be, so my additional feedback that I'm going to give you on May 23rd is minimal, right? That my feedback is just small things, that they're nothing major, because we've already worked on the major things, right? So that when you turn it in at the end, right? And I'm going to be grading this as if I were a señor, if I were an examiner, so that you know what to expect at the end. I mean, you've gone through this process, but I still want you to recognize what to expect here as far as where your writing needs to be, so that you can, be successful here in getting this accomplished and get it finished. Okay? So we're going to continue working together throughout the whole semester, just as we've done now, through Canvas, sessions, coming by and asking questions. Continue to do that, and always make sure that the feedback that I provide, that you understand, that you understand what I'm asking. Because sometimes I provide explanation, sometimes I just put a code there. And sometimes I provide links to videos that you can look at to also reinforce what error that I'm mentioning. But at the end of the day, you need to understand what the feedback that I'm providing. So just ask if you're not sure or not clear, or if I'm not making myself clear about what you need to change.
So for the next week, what are we going to work on? What?
We're going to start working on the design of your instruments based on your research questions.
Okay.
So again, focus on your research questions. Are you happy with the research questions? Are they exactly to bring in ideas? Because really after this point, starting next week, we really can't change much in our research questions. Yeah, we need to stick to it and start designing our method, our protocol, our way in which we're going to collect the data. And there's really not going to be a lot of room for changes in the research questions. Maybe a few, but not many, because we got to focus on one research topic.
The instruments, what are we going to work? The instruments on Word or any other program?
We'll be talking about different instruments. If you want to bring in, okay.
Can I see you another day? Or?
Yeah, that's fine. Is there something you want to talk about real quick, or not? You don't have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next week and different day or.
Bueno, sí. ¿Cómo vas con? ¿Ya terminaste con?
Igual sigo corrigiendo. Ayer nada más estuve checando los aspectos de gramática y le cambié algunas palabras de connectors.
Okay. ¿Y tengo algunos comentarios sobre el meal plan o no, en tu caso?
Sí.
Ok, enfoques mucho en este. Sí. Y los topic sentences, que son claims, esa es la clave. Si cada párrafo que cada uno es desarrollado bien en el sentido de el topic sentence es un claim, y que el orden de tus ideas, es decir, cada párrafo es lógico, es decir, este va primero antes de este para una razón, que está así bien ordenado. Es lo que estoy enfocando mucho ahorita, lo orden de los párrafos y también lo orden de las secciones, obviamente. Sí, entonces enfoques mucho en middle plan, the topic sentences, and the order in which you're presenting your ideas. Make sure your thesis statement, you're happy with the thesis statement, that's very clear, and your research questions also. Make sure that the thesis statement answers the research question, right? And that the entire literature review, that you are talking about topics that directly relate to your research questions. That's the main.
Does the title is important at this point?
No, don't worry about the title. Don't worry about the introduction, just the thesis statement, which will be at the end of your introduction, and your research questions. Make sure that those are aligned. So try to focus a lot on that.
If I have some questions, I will.
Send me questions, and we come by anytime next week. We'll keep our session scheduled, but if you need to meet, or if we need to meet, before, just let me know. Okay?
Thank you so
All
much.
right, you're welcome. Okay, Cuauhtemoc. ¿Preguntas otras?
No, just in the first page, do I have to include the title of the research?
No, don't worry about the
Okay.
title. We'll worry about that later.
Okay.
So don't worry about the title.
Okay, so I already know the concepts that I have to.
All right, so
check.
take a look at this video too that we've been talking about. You're making good progress here. Just we'll just keep changing, keep improving. Okay, it's a process.
It's a process, yes.
Yeah,
That's the word.
so don't stress out too much about the errors or whatever. Just keep working, and, it'll come together. We have enough time to get it together, but just hang in there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you. All right,
Thank you,
take
man.
care. Have a good
nice
weekend. All right, thank you.